Hello, biology students, and happy Wednesday. Today I'm going to be going over Part C with you. So remember on Monday we completed Part A, which was kind of on our guiding question and our hypothesis. Then on Tuesday we completed Part B, which was our data. So you should have collected your data already. So just kind of recalling what we went over. So Part A should be all done. Part B should be all done. So we kind of know what's going to go on each axis. And today we are actually going to focus on graphing. So recall, we should have our data right here for Part B. I'm going to go ahead and bring the lab up. So let's bring that up. Remember and make sure you're using your Flash player correctly and enabling it on your settings, because that's a little bit different for the Chromebook than it is for my MacBook Air. So you'll bring this up, so on and so forth. And we are now in the process of graphing. So this isn't done directly on your Cricut virtual lab. However, it's going to be done on the document that we have to go along with it. Okay, so, and if we take a look at the answer key I have, so the data you should be graphing would be your temperature versus Cricut chirp rate. So whatever your data looks like, here's what my data looks like. So this is going to be the data that I will graph. And my graph should end up looking like something like this. So it should look something like this. If I zoom out a little bit, should make it a little bit easier to see for you. So zooming out, we want to make sure we have a line graph because we are looking at the relationship between air temperature and Cricut chirp rate. So you will start to see some trends here. So, and recall, in order to do that, you're going to go ahead and need to click on these links in order to figure out how to get graphical analysis, because we're using a program called Graphical Analysis. So this video will tell you how to do that. And then this video made by Mr. Bergman will show you how to actually graph it. And then there's actually a third video on your copy. This is an older version of the copy. And that shows you how to take a picture and put it into your document from Graphical Analysis. So as a quick kind of recap, and I can show you some things real quick, if I bring up Graphical Analysis, which you'll have to download on your Chromebook, it is this little sine curve icon down here. So let's bring it up. Here it is. Okay. So now once you bring it up, it's going to give you an option to go ahead and use manual entry. So you want to use manual entry. Okay. Then you're going to want to put in your data here. So you'll go to column options. Our independent variable, what we are changing is air temperature. The units are going to be in degrees Celsius. So you're going to want to click apply, and you'll notice it will automatically apply to your axis. When you do that, then you're going to go ahead and do column options for your y-axis for your dependent variable, the thing we are actually measuring, which is Cricut chirp rate, or just chirp rate, which is a number of chirps per second, but we're just going to go ahead and do number of chirps. We're not really looking at the rate so much as number of chirps, and that is what was being measured in your virtual lab. So it would say, the Cricut chirp 148 times at 25 degrees Celsius, for example. All right. So then we're going to go ahead and input our data. But before we do, you can go ahead and do edit graph options and add a title. So I'm going to call mine the impact of, the impact of temperature, of air temperature, the impact of our x variable, of our independent variable on our dependent variable. So the impact of air temperature on Cricut chirp rate. You can also call it x versus y, so on and so forth, but this is kind of the way that I like to put it. This is the way you would oftentimes see it written in a scientific paper. So you'll go ahead and Make sure you have your data. So my data is going to be this. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. Let's see if we can go ahead and copy it right in. Bring graphical analysis up. Yep, and it worked. Then I'm going to copy the other column. Copy. I'm using Control C or Command C as it is on a Mac. All right. Looks like that accidentally got put there. So it's going to be 40, 76, 112, 148, and 184. Here's how many chirps I have. Delete that extra data, and it's going to make a nice line graph. You're going to notice that it makes a nice line for you automatically. It scales the graph automatically. So then go to Edit Graph Options. You can go points, lines, or both. I want both because I want to be able to see where my data points are, but also make a trend line. There's also the option for Apply Curve Fit. You can also get a line by doing that, and it will give you some different functions there. So then you're going to want to go ahead and make sure that you give this a title. So you name it something, you save it as something. So I'm not going to do that right now because I don't want to save this graph, or I guess I can. So we can do Cricut Lab, save it. And then in order for you to get the picture, you're going to go ahead and export the graph image, so on and so forth. Name it something you know, Cricut Lab, so on and so forth. So then you can exit out of graphical analysis once you have saved. And then on your blank copy, where you do not yet have a graph, make sure you go ahead and insert the graph there. You can do insert, image, upload from computer. You can do recent. It should usually, or wherever you saved it. So we saved it into documents, Cricut Lab, PNG is an image. Also, it might save as a JPEG. So you go ahead and you can create that image and it'll go right in there. So that is what I'm looking for your graph. I'm going to go ahead and undo that just because I want to keep this copy blank. But that is what you would do for your graph and answer these questions. So viewing the data, how does temperature change the chirping? So as temperature increases, we're also going to see that the chirp rate's going to increase. Or whatever you see in your data, though that is likely what you'll see. Why does it say chirps per minute over 10 runs for each data point? So think about that one. Remember what we talked about, why it's important to replicate our experiments or run multiple trials. So it's going to have something to do with that. And if you have then finished this, you are done for today on Wednesday. Feel free to get started on Part D, the conclusion. We will cover that if you're a student, a Cohort A student, in class tomorrow. If you're a Cohort B student, you'll go ahead and finish that at home. And once you are done with Part D, you can go ahead and hit your turn-in button that you'll have, and then you won't have any homework for Friday, which, remember, we have no school. And if we reference our calendar for biology, notice that all of these explanation videos will be posted. So if you are at home as a virtual student or as a Cohort B student, you can go ahead and click on the explanation video that will exist here once I make it. So yep, you can click on that and then keep working on your lab. And then if you've finished parts A through D, the whole thing, go ahead and submit it. It is due on Monday, 7:55. No school on Friday. All right, everybody, I think that covers what we wanted to get through today. You have finished Part C. Congratulations, and have a great day.